Welcome back, everyone, to Season 3, Episode 3 of the Tree of Geek. It's going to be an amazing night. We have ferrets. We have tigers dyed black.
Yeah, the spray painted black?
Spray paint something. And we even have an eagle that looks a lot like a falcon. That's right. We are looking at the 1982 classic, The Beastmaster.
Not a hawk?
No, they kept saying eagle. He did.
I know. Later on,
We're going to be taking a look at the Beastmaster from 1982, as well as touching on the Beastmaster number 2 and 3.
And even the TV show.
And a little bit of the TV show. The reason I say that is because the first one is really the only one worth watching.
Which is the most information you're going to get is on the first one.
That is absolutely true. It is very fresh in my mind. I watched the first and second one literally 10 hours ago.
Yeah.
So I cannot mess this up, but I will.
Oh, I hope.
Welcome again. This is season 3. I love saying that. Episode 3. Michael, how are you?
I'm getting over the holidays, you know. I feel like I'm a bit drained. But,
emotionally, physically, mentally?
Yeah, my heart hurts, you know. No, I'm good. Just trying to find that spark the last few days to get back at it. It's really cold and it's windy, and whenever it's cold and windy here, and it's always gray, and I don't know. I just feel like it saps my mind. You know, not a very good storm.
Well, when I was going to work today. This is my first day back in the office since before Christmas. Yeah, I did a little bit of remote work over the holiday, but the car said it was like 38, but it felt like it was 5 because that wind just cuts right through you.
Yeah, I feel like during Christmas and Yule and all those things that we celebrated this year, that time was fine. Everything was good. But as soon as it like ended, we just had like a hurricane of wind come through the valley here, and it just has been here for 3 days. It's bitterly cold. I feel bad for the dog running outside. I'm glad he's got fur and a little tiny shirt on. You know,
I did see his little sweater. Coat. Yeah, I did see that.
I change out of sweaters every couple of days for him. Man, it's just so cold outside. Like, I got to start my car a couple minutes early. I'm out there in my slippers, you know, reaching in there and getting the eating going.
That's I do envy my wife. Her van has remote start. My car does not.
My car does, but because there's a check engine light on, it won't stay on for more than 30 seconds.
Wow.
Not that I could get my key fob to ever work anyway. So I can't even lock my car. If anyone wants to rob me, I can't even lock my car. Because if I go to unlock my car with the regular key, my alarm will just start sounding. And then I just look like a jackass. So I just never lock my car. I mean, if you want that CD I made in 96 that's chilling in the console, you can have it, I guess. It's got some good metal on it.
Michael's mixtape.
Oh, I had so many mixed CDs back in the day. But I'm assuming you were asking about like new and geek and what's on in my world. Is that what we're talking about here?
Sure, we can segue into that.
All right. Well, yeah, let's segue. You know, not with those stupid things that people ride. I saw Venom: The Last Dance.
I'm sorry.
Not as bad as I anticipated, but definitely not a good movie. I might like it better in part 2, though. I'll say that. I did not like part 2. Like, we talked about this in our Spider-Man episode moons and moons ago. A better movie, but still maybe not the greatest movie, was Gladiator 2. Good action, bad monkey CGI. I don't know what was going on there. You didn't watch it yet. No. You're giving me that weird look. Are you a Gladiator person? Will you think you'll watch Gladiator 2?
Yeah, I'll watch it eventually. Yeah, I mean, I like the original with Russell Crowe, but I mean, like, I knew people who just obsessed over it. They thought it was the most amazing thing. They quoted it all the time.
Well, I think the first one's fucking it's a 9.
It's a fantastic movie. Yes, I mean,
it's one of the few 9s.
It's art, but
the second one's not a 9. The second one's like a 7.
And it's still decent, but okay.
I got back into wrestling. It's big for wrestling right now. You got Netflix getting WWE. Max is going to get AEW. So I was like, you know what? I'll check out some wrestling. I watched the World's End pay-per-view. It was pretty decent. It wasn't the greatest wrestling I've ever seen for sure, but it had some cool high spots. Speaking about breaking records and doing cool things, though, you said I didn't know the info. I started watching Squid Game 2, and what was the info that you got on that?
Squid Game Season 2 set Netflix's biggest television debut with 68 million viewers.
So, like...
And I assume that means, like, within the first 24 hours or something.
So it crushed Stranger Things.
Yeah, it set the #1 record from my understanding. And the show overall, season 1 and 2, is sitting on IMDb as an 8 out of 10. I mean, it's solid.
I watched the first 2 episodes. I got into the third episode. We were in bed and machine gunfire was everywhere. And I was like, all right, I'm trying to sleep or at least calm down. She's trying to sleep. So I turned it off. So midway through episode 3.
Okay. Is it comparable to the first season?
I can't really, I guess.
Same main character?
Yeah, the same people. There's a couple characters from the first one in it. The acting's fine.
Well, I mean
it's dubbed, but
everybody like died in the first one, so
not everybody.
Okay.
No, I think it's on the right track. It's building anticipation, which I enjoy.
They did the same way though, like filmed in Korean and then dubbed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're speaking Korean and it's dubbed. Yeah.
Okay.
And that the main guy, he was on that really cool Star Wars Acolyte show that got canceled. I mean, he can speak English, so.
Well, that's why it's Squid Game season 2. He had to go back and get a paycheck.
Oh, well, there you go. And finally, I've been keeping up with Skeleton Crew and Creature Commandos. I'm one episode behind because of the podcast here. But they're heading to be really good first seasons, and I'm very, very happy, and I hope that they continue. What about you? What's new in your world of geek?
Well, for me, Squid Games, I had that written down that I am excited to watch it. I haven't yet, but
I had to con Emily into doing it.
By the time our listeners hear this, I should have watched it. So, I mean, what is that? A couple weeks. But, like I said, it's setting records. So, I mean, apparently they're doing something right with it. I loved the first season. I thought it was fantastic. Great concept. I'm excited for the next one. Creature Commandos, I'm only 4 episodes in right now, but without giving anything away, the end of the fourth episode follows a little bit of backstory on the Weasel. I don't know its official name. I think it's just Weasel. But wow, they took storytelling to a whole new level for a cartoon. And I'm incredibly excited to see where they go with this show because, like I told you right before we went live.
Well, spoiler, they go to Gotham at some point. I saw that right before we started recording, before you came over here.
Okay.
I was going through looking for some other, like, for the new and geek, just to refresh myself. And
so they're going to go see Robert Pattinson?
Maybe, I don't know, that whole thing. Just cancel it. Just please make me happy.
I did see,
just cancel it. Nobody wants to watch it.
They pushed the sequel back like another year.
Yeah.
But
there's some whole controversy about it.
Yeah, I know.
No, I don't care.
But yeah, I'm really excited to see where it goes. And like I was just saying, right before we hit the record button, I discovered that the Creature Commandos are going to come to live action. I did not know that, but you did. Because, you're always ahead of me.
I don't know how. No, when James Gunn was starting this whole thing, he was like, yeah, some of these people are going to reprise themselves in live action. Like, that was one of the first things he said.
I guess I didn't realize. But, I mean, I can't wait to see Frank Grillo as a Rick Flag Sr. I think he's just going to destroy it. I really do.
I hope so.
And Creature Commandos, currently a 7.8 out of 10.
That's pretty good.
Again, yeah, that's anything over a 7 on IMDb to me is solid, worth checking out.
Well, 7 to me is a good movie. 8's great, 9 is fucking amazing, and 10 is like Return of the King.
Ladies and gentlemen, this season, I will nail down my rating system. Because when I went back and I was editing some previous episodes, apparently it was brought to my attention that I don't have a good rating system.
Oh, well, figure it out.
I'm looking at you. Yeah.
I wrote my whole entire thing down just because I was doing the horror movie thing. I was like, I need a rating system.
Oh, that's true. That is true. And finally, over the Christmas break, the kids and I, and of course the wife, we all sat down and watched Red 1 with The Rock, Chris Evans,
and Snowmen.
J.K. Simmons, Snowmen. While it's a 6.4 out of 10, so below my worth watching threshold, it is a good movie.
It's a decent Christmas movie, holiday movie. It's
fine. As we call it, a popcorn movie. You just want something fun to watch that you don't really have to pay attention to. You throw that on. I thought it was a good movie. It was entertaining. I'm not going to go out of my way, I just have to rewatch this every year. Maybe in like a year or two, sure, I'll put it on. Or if the kids are watching it, sure, I'll sit down and watch it.
It can replace the Santa Claus. I can stop putting that stupid movie on and put this one on instead.
I told you, every year, the first Christmas movie my wife puts on when we're putting the tree up is the Santa Claus. 1, 2, 3, however long it takes.
Listen, I'm a huge Santa Claus guy. We got a lot of Santa Clauses up in the house. Okay. I love me some pagan Santa Claus. I love me some Christian Santa Claus. I love every Santa Claus. I love Santa Claus. I love Bad Santa. That's a great movie.
That's a good movie.
However, the Santa Claus does not age well at all.
Oh, geez.
You want to get past all this? Or is there anything else you want to add?
Is more or less, that's all I've got right now. I mean, I've seen a couple other random movies here and there, but none of them are really new. They were new to me. So, yeah. You ready to get into this?
Yeah, so let's move on. Let's move on to the feature of this episode, The Beastmaster. Now, this is not like the novel with the 2 words separated. This is The Beastmaster, 1 word. So I guess we would discuss at this point, what is The Beastmaster? If you tell some random person on the street, man, you ever seen The Beastmaster? I'd be like, what is that? How would we quickly and explain The Beastmaster? Do you have any information? Because I got plenty of information.
I just have written down real quick, because I did peek at your notes, like we said, to see what format you wanted to rock. For me, what is The Beastmaster? It's a 1982 fantasy adventure film directed by Don Coscarelli.
Of Phantasm fame. He did all the Phantasm movies.
It's a cult classic because it was one of the earlier swords and sorcery movies to really catch people's attention. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It is a man who can control animals through a telepathic connection. And by control, I mostly mean just communicate with.
Yeah,
he communicates with them. Yeah.
He's not like.
We'll get to it, but he never tried to control or communicate with the horses that were like trying to run them over. But
maybe you should have got to part 3.
Ah,
see, you missed part 3. You didn't watch part 3 for that 2-second thing where he actually talks to a horse.
And the horse is like,
and he tries to talk to a cobra, and they're like, "Hey, can you make that cobra stop?" And he's like, "No, man, it's protecting its nest right now." So he's like, "No, I can't fuck with that cobra right now." But the chick lived, so sorry.
But yeah, what do you have as far as what is?
Well, that is correct. Well, the Beastmaster is based on a book. The words are separate, Beast and Master, by Alice Andre Norton. It tells the story of Holstein Storm, who is a Navajo, a former soldier who has empathetic and telepathic connections with a group of genetically altered animals. I guess the team immigrates from Earth to a distant planet called Arzor, where he's hired to herd livestock. There, Storm harbors the wrath of his former enemy, Zik, X-I-K, and has sworn revenge on the man named Quaid for his father's murder. According to Kirkus Reviews magazine, he finds life and hope instead. In this novel and the sequels, Norton explores aspects of Native American culture, specifically the Navajo. What we get in the 1988 movie is nothing to do with Native American people. Really, actually more, I felt like maybe a Canaanite sort of middle, Mesopotamia, Sumar type area type stuff you got going on.
I was just thinking like Conan.
Yeah, what? It's sort of like Samaria, but
yeah,
I don't know. More sand and a couple sticks for houses. Yeah, so the first movie, The Beastmaster, basically the plot is follows Dar. Like you said, he's a young warrior. He can communicate with animals telepathically, and he needs to avenge his family. He goes on a quest to avenge his family, who have been killed by the evil sorcerer named Max. I thought it was Max until I rewatched it. I'd seen this movie a lot as a kid. But yeah.
M-A-A-X. So it's Max.
Yeah. Elements, sword and sorcery, adventure, mystical creatures, epic battles, and dark magic ensue throughout this. Before we get into the major one, because you haven't really seen part past 2, I thought I'd just breeze through part 2, part 3, the series, and then we can jump into the main feature, The Beastmaster.
Where it all
It's not just Beastmaster, by the way, it's The Beastmaster, I found out.
And from what I could tell, just from 1 to 2, it doesn't really seem like continuity mattered.
No, because you get a sequel in 1991 that kind of disregards the plot of the first movie of certain characters. They're supposed to be alive or dead. I won't spoil it here at this point. Oh, and by the way, there will be a lot of spoilers. If you have not seen from 1982 till the 1990s anything to do with the Beastmaster, we are going to spoil a good bit of it. So if you're like, oh man, this is something I kind of want to follow along with, pause now, go find yourself a copy. Good luck finding copies of part 2 and 3. I mean, you can, but it's a little bit difficult.
It took some tracking down. You can find them on eBay.
Well, there's a reason too that I'll cover later on of why it's so hard to find some of these.
Okay.
Yeah. The part 2 is basically called, it's the Portal of Time. It came out in 91. Dar travels to Los Angeles.
Best movie ever.
Yeah, he's got to face this bad guy called Arklon. Carrie Werher shows up as the senator's daughter. He's trying to stop this guy from the sorcerer from stealing a neutron bomb. If you've seen Conan 2, the queen that's like promises Conan he's going to bring back his lover. You can bring back the dead. Yeah, I can do that. So yeah, I love that part of the movie because Conan's just so stupid in that moment. Like she could have told him anything, but it's the same chick in this movie. Like she plays a different character, but she's basically the same evil lady. And then of course you get part 3, the Eye of Braxis, who disregards everything from part 2, but then kind of continues from part 1. But you have different actors and the animals are a little bit different. And I don't know, the continuity is weird. And then you get another sequel-ish TV series from 1999 to 2002. 66 episodes this thing was on. Three seasons, 22 episodes a clip. Yes, it used to come on the UPN at like 1 o'clock in the morning when I was 22, in Arizona.
Not 8?
Yeah, no, 22 episodes. I mean, they did the work back in the day, okay? They did the work. Yeah, that one, I mean, you had some, like, Manu Bennett was in there. I forgot Casper Van Dien was in the last one. He plays Dar's brother from the first movie. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of actors that have been in this series where you're like, I tell everybody you should probably go to Wikipedia or IMDb and look at some of these. Did I say it right? IMDb? Don't want to get mad. International Database. DB. IMDb. DB. Yeah. And just go look at the actors and actresses that have graced the screen of the Beastmaster. And you're like, oh my God, these people are in this. People from Lost, people from Star Trek. Tony Todd makes an appearance. You're like, yeah.
The big bad of the first Beastmaster is Rip Torn.
Yeah.
Wearing a prosthetic nose, but we'll get to that.
What was Gilgamesh doing? I don't know. I made a note of it. And if you don't know who that is, everybody, Freddy Got Fingered or Men in Black. You'll know who Rip Torn is.
Yep.
An amazing actor from back in the day.
John Amos was in it.
Yeah, from Lethal Weapon, or Die Hard 2, rather. I apologize, Die Hard 2.
The what's his name from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil. Yeah, I'm telling you,
the second one.
David Warner shows up in the Eye of Braxis. He's the bad guy trying to get the Eye of Braxis. And if you guys ever get to see part 3, you're going to be in a huge treat because, as I was telling Josh here before we started, if you remember the TV show Dinosaurs, not the mama, the dinosaur show, the bad Braxis dude pretty much just looks like he just walked off the set of Dinosaurs and walked onto the set of Beastmaster 3. It is so horribly bad. Normally you're like, oh, well, the first one's good, but maybe the fourth one. You go through these series. We talked about it with Aliens and Spider-Man, Lethal Weapons. But this movie, like this series, seriously, the first one's okay. Like it's good at parts. There's a reason it's a cult classic, but they legitimately go shittier one after the other. The TV show wasn't. It was very much like Xena and Hercules. Though.
The downfall. I think the big downfall was in the second one. They started relying on CGI, and by CGI, I mean lasers? Like really bad, cartoony looking.
Oh, don't you like when he was like throwing? He used it. There's this thing he had. The Archon has this they called the key, but it shoots lasers. But he can also use it to blow wind. Lots and lots of wind, which maybe that's what's going on here. And somebody's just using the key. But like the cops are falling down in the alleyway, like they're being blown away.
Yeah.
And he's running over the cars. They're like, stop him, stop him.
We talked about this. The continuity is amazing.
The soldiers, like, no, none of these army soldiers are reaching for this guy that's just running past. Like, it's horrible. It's so funny, horrible.
Or just shoot him.
Like, they're all using revolvers at one point in the movie. Nobody has an M16.
On a military base.
The MP guard is in his dress greens.
We're getting
what are we doing?
We're getting way ahead of ourselves. Okay.
Okay. Well, anyway, but we're not really covering a lot of 2 and 3, so we'll just let that be. We're going to talk about part 1 in the classic that it is. But I implore you all for a fun time, watch 2 and 3, but don't take them seriously. It's shit. Just watch them for a fun time. You're like, what the hell? Just get your buddies together with some beers. Or maybe some hard seltzers or just some water, whatever, milk. I don't care.
Was Mark Singer in all 3 of them? I know he's in the first 2.
He's all 3.
He did do the third?
Yeah, and then Daniel Goddard does it for the TV show.
Did Mark Singer have like a cameo? Or did he die?
I didn't see every episode. I just saw a couple here and there. I liked it though. Erica DeRaven from Lost is in it. Anyway, all right. So why don't I throw this over to you? Let's talk about Beastmaster from 1982.
All right. So, looking at Beastmaster 1982.
Give me the casting crew. Who's in this?
We got Mark Singer. He is Dar.
What about the director and writer? You got any of that?
Well, I already said it was directed by Don Coscarelli.
I don't know if you did or not, but Paul Pepperman helped Don Coscarelli write this one. And the composer was Lee Holdridge, who did a shit ton of TV and film scores.
Okay.
There was too many for me to write down.
Then let me reiterate. Main cast is Mark Singer as Dar, the Beastmaster. He's a young man who can communicate and control animals with his brain.
He was famous for being on V and Dallas.
Yes. Co-starring with him, we have Tanya Roberts as Kiri, a slave girl and the love interest of Dar. And we'll find out later a little bit more, but we'll get to that.
Charlie's Angels, James Bond, Sheena, Warrior Princess. Yeah, she was in a bunch of stuff. Did some Playboy shoots back in the day, apparently. She's all over the place.
I don't doubt it, because
she was,
it was the 80s.
That 70s show, she played Midge.
She did play Midge, and unfortunately, in our research, we did find she did pass away, I think it was in 2020, 2021, from some health issues, but yeah, it's a shame. Rest in peace. Then we have Rip Torn as Mayax, not Max. Mayax, M-A-A-X.
What, they should put like a apostrophe in there.
The evil high priest of Arak, the main antagonist. Well, I should have had a comma there. He is the main antagonist.
Do you think he hates Smurfs? Dude, that nose of his, dude.
Does. So I have it later on.
His eyebrows, man.
From what I was reading, he was adamant that he had to have that prosthetic nose, even though the director was like, dude, it's kind of over the top, because he felt it brought a more menacing feel to his character. Okay.
I mean, Rip Torn's a legend, so it is what it is.
And then we have John Amos as Seth.
Also, he's in Coming to America. He was the owner of the
he was McDonald's. Yeah. He's a warrior who becomes Dar's ally. Not a ton of backstory on him. Just
he's like the king's right hand man.
Yeah, and he was with I can't remember his name now.
Tall.
Yeah, the future king. Because again,
played by Josh Milrad.
Yeah, we'll get to why, and then we have Rod Loomis as King Zed, Dar's father, but also the dethroned ruler of Arak.
And his main claim to fame is being in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure as Sigmund Freud.
Really?
Yeah. That's like the only other thing he did.
All right. And
of note.
Okay. And he was a dick in this one. So.
Yeah, and not a good father figure.
I love it. At one point, they're like, he saved you. And he's like, well, he's a freak. Go away.
Remind me of the Santa Claus in that Rudolph movie. He's like, how dare you have a reindeer like that? How dare your genetic genes be different?
But that's the cast.
Yeah, those are the main people.
Yeah.
They're the only people you really need to know. We don't need to know that Donald Beatty was a chameleon.
Nah.
No, we don't. I don't even know who that is.
I do have a quick plot summary. Very simply, Dar, the firstborn son of the king, but he was stolen and raised by...
movie.
Yeah. He was stolen and raised by peasants before he was born. Ish.
No.
Kind of.
Well, we'll get to how he was actually
born. We'll get to that, yeah. And at a young age discovers he has these powers to telepathically communicate with animals. A little bit too late for that one villager, but I mean, he did find out eventually.
That dog was a beast, man. We'll get to that dog. But that dog
later, yeah, I know. Later, he grows up and his village is destroyed by the forces of evil sorcerer Mayax.
And the Juns.
The Juns. Not the Huns, the Juns. And Dar sets out on a journey of revenge and self-discovery. And along the way, he befriends a variety of animals, including 2 ferrets, a black panther, and an eagle.
Yeah, Shirok is the eagle, Kodo and Podo are the ferrets, and Rue is the black panther in this movie.
And just for the record, every time I try to get AI to help me generate some type of image to make as the picture for this episode, it kept putting a Marvel Black Panther standing next to the loincloth man.
Just do a tiger.
And then I kept trying to reiterate, and then ChatGPT's like, I'm sorry, we can't do this. It violates policy. And I'm like, what policy?
We'll try per chance.
I didn't say Beastmaster. I described what I wanted to see. And I'm like, what policy am I breaking? And it actually said, paraphrasing, by specifying the color, it could be offensive to some people. I'm like, it's a panther.
Yeah, panthers don't. What is it? A black panther's not even real. What is it, like a leopard that's like super dark or something?
Something like
leopard or a jaguar. Like it's not actually a panther. But let's move on. Let's go to performance and review ratings. IMBD.
I am
going to let you DB. I'm going to get it wrong every time. It's just going to happen.
All right,
I'll let you do the INDB.
I am.
You
said N.
N?
Yeah. All right. So on the DBMI.
I'm drinking water too. Shit.
The Beastmaster 1982 came in at a 6.2 out of 10. Not that bad for what the movie is.
Rotten Tomatoes, 46% for critics, and I guess the audience is 54%, but now they call it a popcorn score or something. I don't know. Yeah, so it sits right in the middle.
And then I also have real quick, Beastmaster 2 dropped down to a 4.1, and 3 dropped even further to a 3.9. So
yeah, I don't know what the TV show.
I'm telling you, it really makes me want to dive into those.
I'm telling you, they're not good. I fast forwarded through part 3, and I had already seen it one time when I was like 13, 14 years old. I was like, I'm not gonna watch this alone. And you were coming over. I was like, I got to get through this.
Well, like I said, I watched one. I watched half of it the other day, and then instead of finishing it today, I just rewatched it. And then I watched all of 2 today, right before coming over. And I was actually incredibly entertained by 2. Now, it wasn't a good movie by any means, but it was entertaining. I laughed at a lot of it. Mostly how bad some of it was.
You texted me and said it was a parody of itself?
Yes.
Well, okay, so guys, there's a point where Dar is in the Porsche with Gary Werher's character, and they're going down a street. They pass the main Chinese theater, and then there's another theater they pass, and it says Beastmaster 2, the portal through time. And Dar like almost gets out of his seat, and he keeps going around in the car like, wait, what?
He kept pointing like, wait, what?
Huh? Like, first off, how could he read what it said? And secondly, it was just like...
That's a really good point.
I mean, they speak common.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But it was just like, I texted you right away when I saw, I was like, wait a minute here. I don't remember this part.
It was one of those movies where like, he's holding the ferrets in each hand while they're driving, and he's like helping them look. And then they pass what looked like essentially a titty bar, and he looks at them like, yeah.
Then he says it's barbaric or something.
Yeah, it's like they're ferrets, first of all.
I did notice a lot of part 2 that kept saying how barbaric everything was. I'm like...
They were trying to drive home the fact that, like, and they kept calling him Tarzan, but like they're trying to drive home that, like,
they called Archon Darth Vader at one point.
Super primitive man. Yeah, they did, didn't they? Which is funny because it was, what was that, 91?
Yeah.
So Star Wars was still pretty fresh in most people's minds. Oh, geez. But yeah, so that's where we're at.
So now, let's jump into our notes of part 1. We're just going to keep peppering in other parts of.
We're not even a half hour in. We could just end it right here.
Yeah, well, that was a good one.
We're going to go over.
Go to thetreegeek.com.
We're going to go over the first movie, but yeah, I think we're basically going to just jump around to all of them as it sees fit. Because I have a lot
even
to
at the
say.
end of the notes here, I think because I did watch part 3, I think I'll chime in about some continuity things and how things change that you don't know about.
Yeah, there is no continuity, but okay.
So I have just a precursor. I have, holy shit, there's so many. I have 38 notes here for the first movie, but they're very short and very quick and not like paragraphs. Just I have 38 notes.
What, pages?
No, I just went through and I just typed in like a sentence of things that were going on that reminded me of what was going on just as the movie.
I don't have that many, but I do have like a dozen behind the scenes randoms.
Yeah, I have a whole entire section on trivia and behind the scenes as well. So,
all right, so let's start in the very. I just have like 6 notable events throughout the first movie. The very first one I have is simply Dar's origins, because the whole story revolves around Dar. So you were saying that we'll get into it. Do you want to go ahead and explain the beginning of the movie? How does he become what he is?
Well, I have to go through a couple of these notes here real quick, but that's fine.
Absolutely not.
Well, the first thing that hits me before even he's born is the instant cool music. I liked the music.
Yeah.
I thought it was, it's just, I put it on my Magic and Fantasy playlist the other day that has all my Lord of the Rings and Conans and Gladiators and stuff. I thought it was a good, worthy addition. The next thing I noticed was the Butterface switches. and I did look at these girls were models and they were in Playboy and stuff. So there's these.
They were like the what are they the Sears or whatever,
the Fates
in the old
Norse,
Hercules cartoon where like they share an eye, and there's a scene where it starts at the feet and it's coming up, legs, but there's skimpy little underwear coming up, kind of like barely their bra, and then like, what the hell is that face?
That's why I called him the Butterface switch.
My boss was standing nearby and he was watching, and all of a sudden I hear, what the fuck?
I'm glad that Mayax found like the hottest witches from behind. But then they turned around. He's like, well, shit, I already gave you the job. Well, I mean, you know magic, right? So, okay, you can stick around. We instantly noticed that Mayax has some crazy eyebrows. We talked about the note job. But it's sacrifice time now because now he needs to throw. He's going to sacrifice. He's got to go kill the king's child before it's born. But somehow they decide to transfer the child into a cow first.
Well, so he believes that.
Well, there's a prophecy, of course.
The god A-R, wants child sacrifices, and he believes that it needs to be the firstborn.
Not Arklon.
And of course, yeah, we'll get to that. And of course, the king shows up and he's like, yeah, no, you're not doing that. And why not? There's a prophecy that his firstborn is going to kill Mayax, and that's why he feels the gods want to kill the firstborn.
Yeah, he's like, you need to get out of Dodge, and then Mayax has his 2 priest dudes just like kill themselves, like hang themselves real quick.
Yeah, I think it was like, look, they listen to me, I'm stronger than you.
Yeah, and he's like, get out of Dodge, but he doesn't get out of Dodge. Yeah, so he sends one of his witch ladies to mess with the king and his old lady while they're sleeping. They try to transfer the baby into a cow. There's a farmer dude walking by. He's like, what is this bullshit? No pun intended. And he goes in there and saves the baby. That's how Dar is born. But they also burn a mark into his hand that looks like an M.
Yeah, why?
He's a Michigan fan, I guess.
Why did they brand him just...
They beat Alabama. Good job.
To sacrifice him.
So according to part 2, though, Arklon was before Dar, but stolen by the Juns.
Oh,
then follows in the footsteps of Mayax. I don't know. It was really stupid. I just want to throw that in real quick. So then we get to preteen Beastmaster, you know, and he ain't scared no bears. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a bear encounter, and that's how he learns that he can kind of talk to
I'm sorry. I laughed animals really hard. Because they're like, oh, watch this. And he throws like a super fancy throwing star and it like takes the guy's hat off and he's all pissed off. He's trying to...
It's this weird metal piece that slides apart into like this X that you can throw.
So like the dude's trying to like pull it out of the tree and get his hat back. And all of a sudden he gets sucked into the tree line. Like he's like
into a
suspended.
Vortex.
He's like suspended 6 feet off the ground, reaching out with both hands.
Yeah.
And then he gets thrown out of the tree line, and this bear just comes waltzing out on its hind legs. Like that's not how a bear attack works.
Well, listen, you're not in that universe, and they definitely said in part 2 that they're parallel universes. They said those words.
This is the one movie I will give that to you.
Bears are different in Uruk, okay? They're a bit different.
And I had to laugh at it because when the guy who raised Dar was like, you know, we can never speak of this. We can never tell anybody what happened here. All I'm thinking is, yeah, you got the guy killed. But it was actually that
How about you just say you didn't talk to the bear?
He stared down a bear.
That's all that really happened. He didn't really do much. The bear's just like, well, I got what I wanted.
It's like, in truth, he's just covering his own ass because you totally just got that guy murdered.
Yeah, so the bear attacks. He decides he can talk to animals now. They go back to their village. It's all on stilts.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen Amazon and other wet places where they're up on stilts. This is in the desert.
Yep.
Why is everything up on? Are they afraid of snakes?
Well, and it was like this big village. You see tons of people, but there was like 8
There's a
buildings.
point where Dar's up in one of them, and you see the shit. I was like, that is not structurally sound
He's like
whatsoever.
Coming down the rope, and like the whole thing's wiggling.
I build tree houses better than this. Like, what are you?
Yeah, it's like that is definitely a cardboard structure.
And then straight out of Conan, we get a village attack. But don't worry, Dar's tough dog helps out. And I felt so bad.
That dog was awesome.
I wish there was way more of this dog.
Yeah.
But there's not. This dog takes like 2 or 3 arrows.
Yeah.
And still drags his happy ass out of there. Yeah. I like how Dar's just hoeing before the attack with his buddies, just doing some hoe work. And they're like 10 miles away from the village or something.
But I couldn't help but notice, like, they're wearing loincloths. They have all this primitive stuff. But when he was a preteen, he was fully clothed in tunics and like, did they go? It was almost like they reverted their technology. But hey, here is a modern day shovel and hoe.
Amish Uruk?
I don't know. And yeah, like the dog's barking and he goes to the top of the hill and it's like 8 miles that way. There's people and horses going to the village.
The dust effect?
Yeah.
The little. the rubbing of whatever they did on screen to make it look like a horde was coming.
Yeah.
A horde of what? Like 30 dudes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Out of Mad Max.
And
they just didn't have bicycles.
And then you just see them like take off running. So like they ran, and if you go by how long the attack happened, they must have ran for like 30 minutes straight.
Well, I mean, I'll say this about Mark Singer in this movie. The dude's shredded, man.
Yeah, he was.
The dude had like no body fat, whatever, like nothing. This dude was like slim. Like, I don't know what terms you use for this guy. He was glistening at one point, I think. But he's like 52 abs, man. This dude was like in shape for this movie.
Yeah, his dad was not.
No. Well, I mean, that's not his bio, Daddy.
He got run down by horses real quick.
Yeah. I like how he takes out his sword, he draws the line in the sand and gets this really awesome stance. I was like, I don't remember. Is this not a badass or not? Nope, he's not.
And then it just shows him fall over as the horses plow through. Like, he didn't even get a swing off.
No.
He tried to bunt the horse with his bat.
Yeah, so the village attack.
Basically, everybody in the village is dead, but him because of his dog.
But he wakes up by his dead dog and realizes he has hawk vision now, or eagle vision. I wrote down hawk vision. He has eagle vision, and then he goes back to the village because I don't know how far away his dog dragged him. I always didn't like that, like drag. Look what the cat dragged in. I always thought it should be cat drug in. Why isn't it not drug instead of drag?
How far his dog tooked him.
Tooked him to Sheets's. Yeah. Next to the Wawa. Then
Wise's.
Wise. Not the eye place. So he goes back. There's dead bodies up on poles like Vlad the Impaler was there. And then he decides, I'm going to take all of the bodies off of the poles. I'm going to put them in this giant circle and just put it like a line in the middle, kind of like, I'm going to make a 0, and I'm going to catch them all on fire. Do you know what the smell of burning bodies? Dude, there's like 200 people on fire now.
And those, from those 8 suspended houses.
Yeah.
But my favorite part was how he took his dog and he laid it on top of his dad, both of which you could watch breathe the whole time. So I gotta admit though, that dog must have been incredibly well trained to just like go limp and let him carry.
Yeah, it was pretty limp when he was moving around.
But you could see it breathing. Like you could see that very definitive dog that like does a sigh. Like you could see it.
And my dog does it a lot.
Yes. Yeah. My dog does it anytime I pet her. She's like, go away.
But now Dar's got new threads. He's got a new sword, and he's going to go on a training montage.
Threads? He's got one new thread. That's his loincloth.
Well, no. He changed his clothes from the hoeing. He was wearing like some hoeing.
His hoeing cloth to his loincloth. Yeah.
So but he doesn't really train with his sword. He trains with a log.
Yeah.
I guess if
he goes up on a plateau with a stick.
What did Rip Torn once say? If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. So I guess if you can beat somebody up with a log, you can use a sword, right?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, so that was the other movie that Rip Torn was in. Dodgeball.
He was in a lot of stuff.
Dodge a wrench and dodge a ball.
And we get to see throughout this part, we get to see a lot of his bonding and discovery of his animal companions that just all show up in like the same day.
The ferrets help him get out of the quicksand, helps the tiger/panther.
So that was the first time I realized, wow, this movie does not care about animal cruelty.
No, I was like,
the ferret fell, like they literally filmed the ferret drowning, and
that ferret looked pissed and scared as shit.
Like, and oh, I'm gonna grab it. It's okay now.
What if he didn't find the ferret?
Well, Poto, you're single.
Yeah, he gets them and the tiger. Then he gets to a waterfall, and you get to the waterfall, ladies. We run into Kiri, Tawny Roberts, and her other friend that was only there for that image.
Yeah, I forget what her name was.
She doesn't show back up ever. Apparently, where did she go? They're all supposed to be priestesses / where did she go?
They were swimming buddies and she drowned.
Oh,
so
okay.
But yeah, we see her. Apparently, they're bathing. She goes into the water, and
then Dar gets sleazy.
He does. He's like, "Hey, ferret buddies, go down there and steal her clothes."
And hey, tiger guy.
Oh, but wait a minute, it's not her clothes. She's wearing them in the water. They're just down around her waist. Go steal that necklace. Basically, that's on the wrong side of the water from where she was.
It's a magical force, man.
But it's okay because
he gets his tiger to help out, his panther dude to help out. He's like, he grabs her like out of nowhere. He's like, don't move. Don't be scared. I've got you. And like, she's like, wait, what? What the hell is even happening?
I did like how like he kept doing like that head motion, like, okay, go.
You can leave now.
to his, tiger, panther, cat, jaguar friend. He's like,
battle cat,
get out of here. And then, oh yeah, you owe me your life.
But I'll take this. And then like force kisses her.
It's like, oh, well.
And not like Jedi force kiss. No, he like grabs her head, her skull, and is like, I'm going to lay one on you. And there's nothing you can do about it because I'm ripped and you're a little lady.
He's like, and it's the 80s. So,
yeah. I mean, yeah, like the 70s are still here in a way. I'm still feeling them.
Oh.
Yeah, animal cruelty probably happened on set in this movie. And I'm pretty sure he would have been like, what it was a Monty Python, people call now where people get canceled or whatever for media. He'd be an Arnie Hammer right now.
If this was a Monty Python movie, the police would just showed up, drug him off screen.
So they part ways because she tells him, listen, I got to go back to my ex. I'm a slave lady. And he's like, I'll protect you. And she's like, no, man, I got to like move on, dude.
Well, she's like, hey, my whole family's going to die if I don't go back. So I kind of got to go back.
And like, we've already seen that Mayax will sacrifice a kid. Like he will do it. Like he just, did we see it yet?
No, we didn't see it yet.
Well, he's alluded that he'll do it. So
he really wanted to anyways.
So then he runs into John Amos, and Tall, the kid. Then we get this big info dump about Tall is the future king and Max has imprisoned King Zed. So he's like, get out of town. And then overnight, Max just overthrows him. That's what I'm getting from this. But at some point, Tall's born.
Not overnight. I mean, obviously it was about 20 something years.
Well, I mean, this Tall kid's what, like 13, 15?
Probably.
He's not very old.
It's got to be to a different mom because they also say later that his wife died the night that his firstborn was taken.
Yeah. But then we also learned a really good information here. So we learned that Dar not only is the half stepbrother of Tall, but Tall is a cousin of Kiri. So Beastmaster Dar just force kissed his cousin. It's great. It's real great.
Where did you say that you think this takes place? West Virginia? To our West Virginia listeners out there, I'm not sorry.
Wow. That's some really nice mountains there, man.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
We were actually just in Virginia last week for the holidays. My in-laws got a house on a lake. Now, granted, it was freaking cold, but I could totally see going there in the summer, like, because there's a little boathouse. You could just run right off and dive into the lake, and like there's a ladder out, and I'm like, we should totally come back here.
That'd be cool. I'm glad you had a nice family adventure.
Yeah, it was okay.
Wow. So I got some questions of some logistics here. Max wants stars, so he sets up this eye ring attack deal where he has a ring that has an eye on it, so he can like see what's going on, and he sends his dudes to go get Dar.
The first eye device.
Yeah. But I have the hawk flying all the way to see the priests and the woman and then back again. It's pretty iffy. It's like day and then it's night and then it's day. Yeah, like, I don't know. Couldn't they just do it all at daytime or all at nighttime? Just like pick? Because like they're not that far away.
I think it was.
Or are they that far away? Like there's no way to really tell.
When he goes into like his trance to see through the eagle's eyes, it looks like it's nighttime. I think they were alluding that it was like really early morning, and that's why people like the other two, Seth and what's his name, Tall, were still waking up. And wherever the eagle was, the sun was already up in that area. Like there's no trees blocking it because it was in the mountains. That was my take on it. But no, I see what you mean. Like it was like nighttime here, daytime here. So like Eagle flew around the planet to see this.
It's like Superman 2 where he just goes back around the Earth and puts back time.
Maybe.
To save Lois Lane.
Do you think that there's like a reception?
And that's how that works. Did you know that if you just spin the Earth really quick the opposite direction?
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't kill anybody.
Everybody
just reverses time.
Yeah, everybody knows that. But with him and the Eagle, do you think there's like a reception limit? Like so far away, it gets staticky, he just can't see it?
Apparently not. I mean, I feel like he was far away, but not really. I don't know. It was just really weird. But it doesn't matter because they catch up and they head him off very quickly. You saw how far that eagle went, but they somehow get where the eagle was that was showing him very fast. And these priests, man, they can hit a dragon head. There's so these people, Dar and them, sneak up on to get Kiri on this raft. And then they go away on the raft, and all these priests show up, and they're shooting at it. They keep hitting the same spot, this little totem, over and over and over. But right next to the totem is Dar, Right next to the other totem is tall. Like, they cannot hit them, but they can keep hitting the boat over and over again.
And what I found amazing here is, he's on the raft. They show up with all the slaves. In other words, Kiri. That's all he cared about. And the next scene, essentially, they've got all of these priests tied up on the raft. They're floating away. Oh no, the army is coming. So
lessen the weight.
Yeah, like, so nobody thinks twice about it. Kiri's like, I'm going to kick this block off of the raft. And these 4 guys just got sucked down in the water and they're drowning.
Oh, yeah, they're down in Jason Voorhees right now. Right down there in Crystal Lake, man.
Well, I'm watching this and I'm just like...
Well, I don't know why they took the time off if they were just going to sacrifice him to the deep.
Yeah, there's that, too. like, was she a...
She gave a nice chest kick, though. That was a good, hefty chest kick.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's a red flag for their future relationship. That she was more than ready to murder.
Well, listen, we don't know what these guards or these priests have done. Okay, we already saw how sleazy Dar can be. How sleazy do you think the guys are with 0 rules? You know, and she's a slave girl. That's what she says. I mean, she didn't be. Well, I don't know. We didn't see the footage from before, but
I don't want to know. All I know is she had no problem watching them die.
I didn't either, though.
All of a sudden, that little bit of extra weight, they're now 30 feet away instead of 25, and the arrows don't reach anymore.
Right.
They stopped shooting.
I like that it's one of those rafts that you have to grab the rope and pull so you can get to the other side. Yeah. Pretty nifty. Like, you guys have a lot of muscle, man. Like, let's pull a little harder. You know what I mean? Let's put the priest to work other than drowning him. But it doesn't mind. We're going to move on to a spike tunnel that has death guards. So they go through this tunnel. And he's like, wait a minute. There's something up with this tunnel. Right. And there's these hands that keep popping up through these grates that have like spikes on them. Like straight out of like a leather heavy metal music video. But it's cool because they end up finding the lever that's really hard that just shuts all the grates. And then, okay, we don't got to worry about that.
Yeah, and he has to pull it like 2 inches forward. And I like how, like, okay, they're sneaking into this temple. They're going to go try and save Zed. So he's going to bring the kid.
Not to be confused with the Power Rangers guy.
Well, Lord Zed. So he's bringing the kid and the lady that he just saved into the most dangerous place he could think of to literally tell them, don't do anything. Why are you going to leave them at home?
Well, I think that kid was like, I need to come or something because he wants to prove himself.
But he didn't do anything.
No, that kid does nothing. He is definitely the Frodo Baggins of the journey.
He gave an exposition dump.
And he's later played by Casper Van Dien. So with a really horrible blonde wig. It's such a bad wig.
And Christian Bale later played John Connor. It doesn't matter. The point is,
I was making fun of it. I wasn't trying to defend it.
I was going to say, this kid didn't do anything.
No, this kid does jack shit.
Terminator 1, John Connor didn't do anything.
Stand on one leg. Bark like a dog.
Oh, no. I was so glad when I saw
Are you talking to moi?
I grew up on the version of that show that didn't have that.
Yeah, so we find blind King Zed. They fight the Butterface witches. Who is one of them's crawling on the ceiling
backwards.
Yes, and gets in the exact position that she needs to be impaled. Well, thanks. I guess I'll just stab you now.
But whenever they get stabbed, they just like vanish.
Don't worry. Later on in one of the other movies, later on in this movie, one of them turns into a dove.
Yeah, and I was very unhappy because I was waiting for the eagle to swoop down and take it out, and nothing ever would happen.
Nope.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah. So they find some secret skull stairs. They're going to escape the city.
Well, and there's a point where they're in like essentially the air ducts of the temple, and they're looking down and they see this dude.
Oh, how the death guards are made. Yeah.
In leather and a jock strap tied to a table. They legit
look like the guys from Mad Max, only they don't have motorcycles.
Yeah. And the kid, this is the only thing he did.
Information.
The whole movie.
That's all he did is just give info.
He was just like that. That's how a death guard is made. They're tortured to the point where they can't take it anymore.
They took a glowworm,
a green slug, and put it in his ear and kills him immediately. And then when he comes back to life,
he starts murdering.
He's not afraid of anything. He just kills everything,
including the priest that just put the glowworm in. So
here's my thing. He wasn't tied down. They were holding him down. They put the slug in his ear.
Glowworm.
For the
it's bright green.
2 seconds that the priests were distracted by 2 ferrets being lowered down by a string.
Oh yeah, because they got to steal a key.
They're going for the keys. Yeah. The death guard wakes up and murders them both. Like, what was going to happen
if
regardless?
The ferrets weren't there?
Like,
well, maybe they were going to walk out the door and shut the door.
But then I loved that every time you see it references this dude from here on out, it's him chasing the ferrets down the hallway.
And he's waving his arms as he's running. Roar, roar.
But
well, they have terracotta piping.
Yes.
I was like, when did they get that jump in their industry?
Technology,
that they now have terracotta pipes, and what's in? Because they keep smashing the pipes to get to the ferrets, and they seem to be empty. Were those old ship pipes? What used to go through those pipes?
I don't know.
Why are pipes going into a cave in the middle of nowhere? Is there a rain gutter system? Like, what is happening?
All I know for a fact,
how did they make him so perfect?
He was just going nuts chasing 2 ferrets because apparently they will kill anything, and he looks like something. The Death Guards. We now know what the rest of the Death Guard looks like. We saw the spiked gloves, coming up out of the grates earlier. He looks like he belongs in some weird, like, BDSM fantasy.
Oh, definitely. Think about New York at this time.
Wow.
And the clubs. That's probably where he should have came from. You know what I mean? Forget LA in part 2. This is all New York.
Okay, so if you go to Google, I just did it.
This is American Horror Story.
You type in Death Guard Beastmaster.
Oh, God.
Scroll down.
You have to hit the not safe for work button to make give you something, because that just seems
you don't.
That's a bad prompt.
So if you type that into Google Images and you go to the second row down next to the last image, this is what you get. You get a big burly man in leather spiked gloves, leather spiked like thigh-high boots, a giant leather jock strap with a skull over the crotch.
There was an American Horror Story season not long ago that was based on the AIDS scare in New York, and it was about the homosexuality and all the clubs and everything underneath. Yeah. And like one of the main bad guys that's killing people looks like this guy.
Well, then he's got the leather mask with the spiked collar. The only thing about him that's not full on gimp is the bright glowing green eyes. That's from the glowworm.
I love glowworm.
So basically, Mayax likes his gimpy BDSM shit. That's what I'm getting from this.
And that's fine and dandy, but why can't he just do that and not sacrifice kids though? Like, if you want to do what you do, that's fine. But why you got to be killing kids though?
Well, apparently he's got to do both. I don't know.
That's some strange...
I'm buying this for you for Christmas next year. There's a Death Guard action figure.
I was like, they did not make a Funko Pop of that, did they? And they didn't, but oh my goodness.
Oh, I want to.
That's like a really horrible Kenner's action figure. Yeah, people online, if you want to laugh, look up Beastmaster Death Guard action figure. It's the perfect gift for the Beastmaster fan in your family, or your stepdad that just doesn't accept society. Get him that for the holidays.
There's a birthday. Beastmaster Death Guard 28mm tall D&D.
I'm bringing these guys into our
figurine for only. You can get looks like a pack of 10 different poses for 13 British pounds.
British pounds. I'm telling you right now, I think after we're done with this part of the campaign, I'm going to bring in some Beastmaster stuff for the next episode.
I want to be a part of that.
I think we need some Death Guards, and I can't wait to describe them and see what Emily and Natalie's look is that they give in return.
Oh, man.
Because they've definitely never seen Beastmaster, nor will they ever. I think John's seen it, but Emily's going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
She's just going to be like, Michael, I quit.
My character's committed suicide. My fairy dived into a vat of acid. Goodbye.
But good news, you can buy a Death Guard costume.
Oh, I'm not allowed to
cosplay and all, but I mean, it looks like it's either on AdamandEve.com.
You can just do piece of mail. You can do it yourself.
All right, let's move on.
Let's move on to King Zed. No like freaky who talks to animals. So they rescue King Zed. They get into their encampment, and Beastmaster's like, "Listen, bro, I'll help you, but you gotta go stop this." And he's like, "I don't like you." He's like, "Well, but why?" He's like, "Because you talk to animals and you're a freak."
Yeah.
I don't like freaks that talk to animals.
He basically said, "I don't want freaks in my company. Get out."
Like, you're a blind piece of shit, man.
They're like, yeah, dude, he just saved.
No offense to blind people, this dude is a blind piece of shit.
But they were like, he just saved your life, and he's like, I don't care.
He's a freak.
Like, I'm at that moment in the movie, I legit was thinking, like, man, is he the villain? Because he's kind of an asshole.
Yeah, kind of is. So Dar's like, dude, if you go take care of this the wrong way, you're probably not going to make it. And guess what happens? Dar has to do a bit of rescuing because Mayax sees the attack coming because of the eye.
Oh, I love that.
The eye ring.
So yeah, they're sitting there planning the whole thing after he shuns Beastmaster, and all of a sudden you just see the little eye open up on the ring, and they're like gathered around this cauldron like a big screen TV, like, let's listen to the whole plan.
Fast forward a little bit.
Yeah.
No, rewind. But when? Then. And
then Seth, was it John Amos sees it? He just like stabs a stick in it.
Yeah. And then the one which is like, ah! Yeah. So because of all that, Dar's got to do the rescuing. He goes back to Arak. That's the whole region?
Arak is the whole region. Okay. I'm not sure what the temple is. Basically that like
the Temple of Ar. He goes back to the Temple of Ar. AR, not
the Temple of BDSM. Yeah.
Death guards. They, that Death Guard looked sweet if he had a leather jacket.
That is true, and I'm still a little annoyed that the only thing they did with these guys was throw them
at ferrets.
Throw them under a random walkway in the back door of the temple to reach up through a grate.
If I was Mayax and I had that ring going on, I would have got all the Death Guards to surround that encampment right there and just go balls crazy.
Do you want to rephrase that one? Or?
No, that's what I meant to say, and then I was like, well, that works perfectly, and but they don't do that, and Dar kills one of the witches on top of the pyramid where Zed's going to be murdered, and it turns into a dove.
Yep,
like we said. But then Mayax kicks or throws one of the ferrets in to the fire.
No, that kind of actually hurt my heart.
And we skipped over the part earlier where he literally picks up a kid and throws the kid into the fire.
Well, yeah, there's that.
Chucks.
That was earlier, and then he gets another one. He goes,
and then the eagle saves the other one. But the first kid was like, nah.
No, so they're getting. This time they're getting ready to stab Kiri. She's gonna be the sacrifice on top of the temple. Basically, Dar shows up at the last second. He stops it. I think he stabs Mayax. And they think he's dead, and then Max comes up behind him. He's going to kill him, and one of the ferrets jump up, like bites his neck, and basically they fall together into the flaming pit of the temple. And I was actually very sad because the whole time I'm like, "Come on, where is he? Where is it? Come on!" Nope. Unfortunately, the ferret died.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they didn't sacrifice a real ferret for that scene. So.
Yeah, I was looking at the time of this too. I was like, man, there's like 20 minutes left of this movie. Like,
yeah, I did the exact same thing.
But it's okay because we need a Judd horde attack.
Well, the first movie is 2 hours and 5 minutes long. For the 80s, that's a long movie.
Yeah, it's like Lord of the Rings before Lord of the Rings, homie.
But like everything's good.
And they're definitely on the same level.
But I loved it because they were like, we killed him. We beat everything. The Jun are going to attack at dawn or something.
The other ones, yeah.
So they go out and they start throwing dirt on the moat to try and make it look like
they've never seen the moat before.
Exactly.
Even though Mayax was in league with the Juns at one point.
I thought he was basically in charge of them.
That's what I thought too.
But no, they might not know that there's a moat here. And then later we discovered that the moat's also flammable.
Yeah, so all the horde comes running in, runs through the moat into this mud. And Prince Kid's dead. Maybe. Prince Kid gets shot right in the sternum with a fucking arrow.
Like a bad parody of a video game where like the character's running out. Oh, they died. Someone else runs out, picks up the flag. Oh, he died. Someone else runs out, picks up the flag. Like
I wrote down Jun horde attack right into the moat. Prince Kid dead, more explosion. My next note, wait, ... Kid is alive. Horde survivors. Good guys get cornered.
So basically, they the horde runs over the not moat, goes down into it, and they're like flailing around trying to get out. Well, apparently the moat's flammable, so they run out with a torch to try and light it. That guy dies. The kid decides to be the hero. The only thing he did in the movie was get hit by an arrow.
Right in the chest.
He runs out, picks up the torch, and immediately takes an arrow to the chest. And so what do you think the most logical thing to happen next is? Kiri runs out, picks up the torch, and she's about to get messed up, but she lights the dude on fire because nobody's shooting arrows at her. And so I love it because Dar comes out of nowhere and fucking drop kicks him back into the moat.
Does his best Bruce Lee kick.
Where suddenly, again, flammable moat, a burning man hits it.
Early in the movie,
when
he first goes to the village, you see it bubbling. So I thought maybe it was acid because I didn't remember a lot of the end of this movie.
I don't know if it's supposed to be tar, oil, I don't know.
Yeah, but it definitely blows up.
But
not enough because people crawl out of it after the explosion.
Exactly. They start crawling out of it. And then the main dude just like hops his horse over the flaming moat and he's like, yo, let's fight.
Yeah. So
and now we're into what to me almost felt like the end of Lethal Weapon, like where it's like raining and they're fighting. Instead, it's fire and they're fighting, and nobody thinks to
Martin, let me take him. Don't.
Like the horde just stands there watching. The backers, the people helping Dar, stand there like nobody is fighting but the two of them.
Well, it's such a magical sight. It's so fantastical. It's like, what? Yeah, and the wings on this guy. At one point, he does a swipe and cuts the dude's wing off. His big giant bat wing he's got going on. And the guy's almost like, oh, that hurt. And he's like, oh, wait a minute, it's just a helmet.
Now, I will say his weapon was cool. It was like a staff with skulls on it, and then he basically hits a button and like two blades pop out like an axe.
And he gets stuck in the bridge, and then he Dar monkey flips him over it at one point. He
lands on it,
and then he like pushes him into the axe.
It's stuck in his back, and he starts flailing around trying to reach it. You could tell at this point in the movie they were like, all right, guys, let's just wrap this up already.
So, I mean, when you talk about Dar at this point, so a lot of these movies that you have sword and sorcery, you know, you go like Aragon or Conan, any of the characters in our Crossing Swords tournament are bad motherfuckers, right? Dar, I mean, he can swing a sword, but
who is the strongest person in that tournament that Dar could have beaten?
Man, even Inigo Montoya would have taken him out quick.
I feel like Red Sonja would have destroyed him. He'd have tried to steal a kiss and she'd have snapped his neck.
And even some of the ones I left off the list probably would have taken him off. I don't think he would have handled anybody.
I think he could have beaten Leonardo, the turtle.
I don't know. But you can somehow mentally control him to jump into the vat of acid fire moat.
Yeah.
Dumb.
So yeah, we get this massive, not that massive fight that just seems like it keeps going.
But somebody says, finally, we're going to end this real quick.
Yes.
In the Winged Devourers show back, we even glossed over that way earlier in the movie. There's these winged guys.
About that. That was weird.
It scared the shit out of me as a kid. These dudes are, even today, like it still looked creepy. So basically, they wrap their leathery wings around people and then dissolve their bodies.
They reminded me of, what was it called? The Silence from Doctor Who.
Okay.
Is that what I'm thinking of? They're the almost look like aliens, like the no mouth, just big white heads, and like they wear suits. But like they almost remind me of that. But
I remember them talking when I first saw this, but they don't talk.
Yeah,
well, they don't hate Dar because they were going to eat Dar, but they had this big totem of a bird, and then Dar's eagle lands on it, and he can control the eagles. They're like, oh shit.
Yeah,
we're winged people. We'll be in league with you. So they show up at the end and save the day, and they just out of nowhere just start grabbing all the bad dudes.
And I love it because he's just like, we should go. And then the head winged thing just
who's like 8 foot tall or something.
He does that classic nod, like he looks at him, just one quick nod.
I mean, I could have swore as a kid these people talked in the movie, but apparently not. No. Yeah, so they dissolve everybody. Seth decides he's going to help King Kid. And instead of, you're supposed to break off the arrow, he literally just rips the arrow out of the kid's chest.
Yes,
with one swipe.
No arrowhead. It's suddenly just a pointy stick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's definitely not going to die of blood poison or sepsis or anything of that being an infection.
I like later, though, because he's like, how is he? And he's like, well, he's not going to use his left arm for a while. And then literally the next scene, he's got his right arm in a sling.
Damn mirror shots. Yeah, so the king kid's supposed to become the new king. Dar just decides he's gonna leave. Doesn't say really goodbye. Walks off. Kiri's like, oh, he didn't say goodbye, and he's far. And then he stops somewhere for a minute to look at the horizon, and boom, she's there. Yeah, we got a stage 5 clinger, man. Dude, she's there.
Well, and it zooms out, and it's there's no stairway to where he was.
She just boom.
She was tracking him.
Yeah, but she wants some smoochies, so she gets some smoochies. Oh, look, there's baby ferrets. So even
there are.
I don't know who died, Kodo or Podo.
I believe it was Podo.
Well, I know in part 2, the Kodo and Podo are there.
They're still there. Yeah.
I don't know what happened to the babies. I don't know if they just replaced the parents.
Listen. We I know it sounds like we spoiled this whole movie, but we glossed over so much stuff. This one is worth going to watch just one time in your life. It is incredible.
You got to say you've seen Beastmaster.
It is so entertaining. Like
it's so ridiculous.
I wish I had seen it when I was younger because
I love that they played this shit on TNT all the time.
Well, it was just fun.
Or TBS or wherever.
Well, so I actually, where's it at? I have written down here.
Yeah, my last note was movie just shy of 2 hours because of the credits.
Oh, I thought it was just okay.
Yeah, the credits put it.
Here it is. The film was not a major box office hit upon its release. However, it found a, quote, second life on cable TV, particularly on TBS and then HBO.
So TBS is where I saw it all the time. I knew it was one of those stations.
It says its frequent airings helped it gain a dedicated fan base.
It was on all the time.
Here's my favorite. The phrase, the Beastmaster channel, was coined as a joke because of how often it was played during the 80s and 90s.
I'm telling you, man, this thing was on all the time when I was a young teen, man.
TBS was the Beastmaster station or channel.
I tell you, it was on like every other day. It'd be on.
I don't know how I missed it.
They would do part 1 and part 2, and then there'd be something on for a couple hours, and then it'd be on again. Like.
I have a whole list of stuff here about behind the scenes of Beastmaster. Or did you want to kind of brush over 2 and 3?
You want to go over what you liked and didn't like, or do you?
Oh, absolutely. I liked and I didn't like the entire movie.
Well, basically, the only thing I can really say about the difference between, or the connection between this one and the other one. So, this movie, he's got the eagle, he's got the ferrets, he's got the tiger spray painted black.
Yeah.
So the second movie, he's got the ferrets. He has an actual tiger this time, not spray painted black.
Yes.
And
for reasons.
And he has an eagle as well. I could have swore it was a hawk in the first one, whatever. And then the third one, he now has a lion called Rue. Yeah, it's a fucking lion.
It's the same cat. It's just, it evolved.
Yeah, it chases the dude up a tree in the third one.
What if?
But he still has the eagle and the ferret.
What if it's a parallel universe for each movie?
I think it is. Even for the TV show, it has to be, because the second movie, right off, it starts off, King Zed is dead. And there's a vacuum of power. And you're like, but what about Tall? And I thought he was dead in the fucking last movie anyway. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, they don't give a shit about the first movie.
Well, and it said like in the days and weeks after his death, like this other power rose up, and I
was like, that was pretty quick because like he died in that last movie, right?
Yeah. And the first time you see Beastmaster, he has like hair down his back, so like he grew a lot of hair in a couple days.
Yeah, and then you learn that there's a prophecy that Dar has to fight his brother. And you're like, okay, well, then you find out very quickly that Archon is his brother who was stolen by the Junts. He's the actual firstborn child.
Yeah.
You're like, what? So that's a weird family tree, but doesn't mention the other brother at all.
Does it actually say he was stolen by the Juns?
Yeah, because he's like,
because in my head,
they argue about it. He's like, I am a Jun.
Well, see, in my head, it was maybe, I was trying to make sense of the continuity here, okay? Maybe there were twins in the cow. She got one out and she was getting ready to sacrifice it and then go and do the next one.
Like a reverse Romulus.
But the farmer killed her. Yeah. And
a Jun picked up the other one? Well, that was born a second before?
He got the baby and left, not knowing that there was a twin
laying over there,
like still inside of the Tauntaun's guts, like Luke Skywalker. And then a Jun found it and decided not to, sacrifice it. I don't know. I was trying to make sense of the continuity here, and it was not working.
When did they develop spandex in the land of where were they at again?
Archon, Arak.
They use a lot of the same words here. Yeah, in Arak, they apparently have spandex.
L.A.
Yeah. Oh, L.A. Yeah, I mean, the second one is a joy because you have cop cars go through the portal that looks just like, or not just like, but it's very similar to the portal in Star Trek.
Yeah, you sent me a picture. It is. Yeah,
yeah, like
I see. I thought that was great because like Archon's there with his witch, and they're talking about. Like, he basically kept saying like, "Oh, I'm just gonna kill you. I don't care."
At one point, he's like, "Where did you learn to talk like this?" And she's like, "Oh, I've been studying this other world."
She called him like Lord Dude at one point.
Yeah, she's just talking like she just came right out of the streets of L.A. Like,
heads up, this is the second movie.
Yeah. But then, the third one is just, it's so god awful. It's so bad.
I'm gonna watch. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it.
Just fast forward through it. Just every 30-second jump, the action scenes are not good in any, it's just, But let's talk about Beastmaster 1. Tell me, what did you like about this movie? Let's go positive before we go negative.
I loved the cheese factor. Like, every fight scene was so painfully staged. He could swing a punch and be 3 feet away, and the guy flies backwards.
It was some bad pro wrestling, I'll tell you that.
Like, it's one of those movies that it's so poorly done, but at the same time, they only had, I have it written down here, I think it was like, an $8 to $9 million budget, which even in the 80s.
Well, think about Conan.
That was nothing.
Conan the Barbarian also came out in 1982.
Okay.
And you can definitely tell a difference. Have you seen the first Conan? Conan with Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, I have not seen The Destroyer, though.
Yeah, that's part 2.
Okay.
Yes, there's the budget difference, but still with a shitty budget. Look at a lot of those 80s, 90s martial arts movies that had no budget.
Conan the Barbarian, 1982, had a $20 million budget, over double what this one had.
Yeah.
And they still managed to make a pretty good fantasy world with what they had.
Yeah, now, that's a bare bones type movie too. There's nothing that's...
So they had to sacrifice some of the choreography to afford the loincloths.
This one feels more like a Red Sonja movie than a Conan movie. Like, just with the choreography, it just was not very good.
Right.
I don't think the acting was absolutely horrible in the first one, but I digress. What else did you...
It was just cheesy, and in one of those I loved it type of ways. I just did.
I agree. I agree with that. Yeah.
What else did I like? Some of the very subtle, I don't want to say sarcasm, but like the subtle comments and jokes that were made that just...
Yeah, Dar's a one-liner.
Like,
He's a one-liner type guy. If you want to get
technical, like today's standards, I did air quotes, this movie is not politically correct by any means. And I loved it because of that, I think. Because like it was just so in your face, like...
This didn't feel like a studio exec was stepping in and re-editing the movie as they went. Like, nope, that's not PC. We can't have that on screen.
To me, it almost felt like at one point, it's like, okay, listen, Tanya, here's your part. I want you to get this line in there, but just fill in the rest. Go. Okay, ready, action.
Have you seen any of the Phantasm movies?
No.
I'm not a huge fan of them. I appreciate what they are, and I wish they would get a good remake, and I wish this would get a... No, they're like aliens from another universe, but they're like stealing people from graveyards. But the sexuality of those movies and the rawness of them, you can definitely tell that Coscarelli was just kind of...
1979 horror sci-fi.
Yeah, he's like, I don't really give a fuck about what I'm making here. Not as in if he didn't care, but he's like,
has a higher
I'm going to do what I want.
It has a 6.6.
People love Phantasm. I like parts of it, but I'll
have to check it. It looks like the most recent was in 2016. Ravager.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Okay.
I think I might watch Ibraxis first.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
What else did you like? I'm just saying Coscarelli has like a no nonsense, I'm just going to make the movie I want to fucking make type thing.
I like that.
I do appreciate that.
Regardless of the violence, that again, it was very obviously fake, but like they would...
I mean, he chucked a fucking kid in the fire, man. Like legit.
Like you would see him like swing a sword and then the guy turns around, it looks like ketchup on a shirt. But like that, and there was the brief nudity and like all the violence, it's still a PG rating. Like it was just, it was made to be a fun movie. And in the end, it was a fun movie.
It's hilarious.
It is. It really is. And I love how much I hated how much of John Amos's legs I have now seen. Okay. I have seen way more of him than I ever wanted to.
Yeah, well, Tony Todd replaces him in part 3. And he's not as naked.
Okay, good.
The costumes are a lot different. Well, Dar never changes his costume. He's always in the same damn, whatever.
Well, I told you when I was trying to make an image
loincloth
for on AI, one of the other things it kept saying was like the loincloth, it could violate the
I'm going to
sexual terms, and because it could be too revealing. It's like
it's Tarzan, bro.
The only way I got it to finally start giving me something was a bare-chested man in a tunic, and for some reason it worked. But then it started giving me like all these bare-chested. It was like Magic Mike on AI, and I'm like, this just is not working.
Channing Tatum is going to replace Dar at some point. He's a little bit older now.
Do you know how funny that would... Anyway, what about you? What did you love about this?
I got 4 things written down here. Let's start off with...
4, jeez.
Well, I already talked about... I like the fact that Dar isn't instantly trained to be a deadly badass. He's got to train solo, but he's far from a polished fighter. Like, Conan's going to rip right through people. The Man in Black will rip through people. Like, there's all these, like, John Wick-ish Conan, or, sword-swinging dudes in fantasy that just... As soon as they pick up a sword, you're like, well, those 30 guys are fucked.
Well, I said, I think Kiri was more likely to murder 3 men off of a boat than he was.
Right. The musical score. I love the soundtrack to this movie. It's almost a Western meets fantasy. There was a very kind of like High Noon-esque sound at times in this, which makes, I mean, it's a desert-ish movie that has one random forest in the middle. I don't know. It's an oasis, maybe. And water, like it had the whole desert, and then all of a sudden it's the waterfall, and everything's like lush.
That is true. Like, what?
Yeah, there was that big river.
They put it there just for the bathing scene. I guarantee it.
Oh, definitely. And I think that even though it's low budget, I appreciated the swings that they took. I know the death cards have some weirdness to them, and but like they tried. They said, "Fuck it, we're just gonna do something crazy." If you look at the very first Mad Max movie and the second Mad Max movie, you still have leather-clad dudes with shit hanging out, man. Like,
still haven't seen them. I need to.
Well, we're gonna get to them.
I know,
because that's on our agenda.
Sci-fi or is that fantasy?
It's sci-fi, but we can always squeeze something in somewhere. The Wing Devourers. I really enjoyed them. I liked them as a kid. I liked them now. There's not a lot to them. I would love to get a backstory or some larger element of them in a Beastmaster movie.
Is that what they're actually called?
Yeah, that's all I could find online is they were called the Wing Devourers.
Yeah, they were creepy.
Yeah, very creepy. This is kind of like a horror-esque fantasy movie in ways, and I appreciate that. And I did like that they went full-on child sacrifice. He has the kid by an arm, by a little chubby leg, and he's like, "I will sacrifice you to R," and chucks.
I'm pretty sure there was child abuse outside the animal abuse, because like that kid was screaming, and Rip Torn's just like, "Shut up, shut up, kid."
If you can dodge a child, you can dodge a ball. And surprisingly, even with the wild outfits, you know, in the acting was a little bit hokey, but I don't have anything huge about this. I do have some dislikes, but I don't have anything huge where I'm like, you gotta stamp it X. I'm over with it. Like it sucks that bad. And spoiler, we probably won't review a movie that we absolutely hate until we get farther in seasons. And that'd be something cool if somebody would message us, say, "Hey, it seems like you're doing fantasy season. Check this movie out," or "We're doing sci-fi." Or have somebody say, "Listen, if you two have never seen this movie, I challenge you to watch this movie and give a review.
Give an honest review about it." Oh,
I'll do it, man. I don't care what movie it is. I'll watch it.
Aragon.
It's been years. I only saw it that one time when I was like,
it's still bad. It's
20
still
or something. What about what you did not like about this movie? Give me a couple of things that you're just like, man, what the fuck? That we haven't already joked about.
Yeah. So one thing that I didn't care for, and not even I didn't care for it, I wanted more of it, and I was a little annoyed that I didn't get more of it, was actually, like you just alluded to, was a little more backstory on certain aspects of it.
It's so long, but it feels rushed at times, right?
Yes. Well, it's because they put so much into it. I mean, while I'm watching this, I really felt that I was almost like I was watching the video portrayal of somebody's D&D campaign.
Probably the same dialogue that your friends would give you too.
Well, I mean, look at it. Like, it was, in all seriousness, a very simple plot. It had a protagonist who had to figure out what the hell he was doing. It had him kissing another player who did not want to kiss back at the time. And then you have murder hobo of, "I'm just going to push you off the boat." But
does this fit the hero's journey?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. No, but I feel like you said, the Wing Devourers, the Men in Black, the Death Guards that we literally saw that one time.
A better scene with them would have been cool. Like, give me a couple of them that are like attacking
instead
a shit
of
people
one chasing ferrets down a hall and then bursting through a door or killing a bunch of priests on the other side.
He did through that door, man. He did.
Give me I want just a little bit more. Like, what were they actually used for, other than putting them in behind grates in the floor where they're probably going to kill each other if they kill anything?
Do you think he was making all these guys to backstab the Huns at some point, or the Juns?
Maybe, but
a secret army of ferret-hating berserker, leather-clad. I'm telling you, people, you got.
I love how you started with ferret-hating, but I just wish we had a little more backstory on certain areas. A great example is, look at Kiri. Okay, she's a slave girl. Oh, if I don't go back, he's going to kill my family. Well, then we find out the only family he even had of hers was her uncle. That I think it would have been better if he'd have just died. Like, he was pretty miserable. Like, there was just little things like that I feel like if they'd have flushed out a little more, it could have brought a whole new level of depth to the movie. And I know I sound like a really bad movie critic right now, but I just think it could have.
This movie's been hit pretty hard for a lot of years. Okay, 42 years this movie's been smacked around.
Well, yeah, but I think it could have brought it more to life for me if a little more information had been given.
Would you watch a remake of this, like a serious, like
depending on? Okay,
if it had the right director and you saw a decent cast, would you watch this?
Right director, right cast, but then at the same time, yes, but I would want it to still hold some of that cheesiness without trying too hard to be silly.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And I said, in comparison to Beastmaster 2, look at that Terminator where he goes to a strip club to get his clothes instead of a biker bar.
Was that T4 or some shit?
I think it was the third one. Fourth, I don't. Yeah, you're right, but
it doesn't matter, really.
They were trying to appeal to another audience. I feel like a slightly younger generation, make it a little funnier, a little more hip, or whatever. And I've said it in our Terminator episode too. That right there, that beginning kind of threw the whole movie off for me. And if they would do that for Beastmaster, I feel like I couldn't get behind it.
What if they did like a Creature Commando styled artwork cartoon? Where, you know, they did that Terminator Zero cartoon, like that style anime. Where, yeah, they don't have to really make it funny. They could just make this full rated R. Like, yeah, he controls animals, but he also decapitates motherfuckers or something. You know what I mean? Or like make, or maybe even like the He-Man, the Masters of the Universe cartoon. That's somewhere it's in the middle. It's serious, but it's still silly.
I don't know. Like, I feel like what really made this movie was that slight cheesiness to it. Like, I feel like that's why people.
Well, it got cheesier as it went, for sure.
Well, yeah.
It went pure Velveeta.
Okay, to answer your question, though, would I watch a remake regardless of who did it? Yes, I would watch a remake.
I would, just because I've seen all the other ones. I have to.
Yeah.
What do they call it when you're signed on to a movie, but then you have to do the sequels, whether you want to or not?
A contract.
Well, yeah, I thought there was another term for it.
I do, however, think Mayax should be played by Adam Sandler.
With that nose, man.
Now, what about you? What did you not like about this movie? And would you watch a remake?
I want to write the remake. Let's do this. Continuity, man. Continuity between seeing the animals in the eyes of the day and the night. That really kind of pissed me off. That
so not between movies, but within this movie.
Yeah, just this movie here. The death. Yeah, I said the swings were cool, but those death dudes needed to do something more. I feel like there were some wasted opportunities.
There's no backstory.
Yeah. Kissing cousins? Why? Why did he have to be related?
So
why did she have to be a cousin? Couldn't she just be somebody?
I hate to say this, but I feel like it was kind of an influence off of A New Hope.
But you know, as you're writing it, they're going to, like, you didn't know that they were related till part 2 of that series. This one here, what, halfway 30 through. Minutes in it, that.
But I mean, and it would have been different if they're like, okay, let's veer away from it now. Oh, we're cousins. No, at the end, they're like, let's make out half naked on top of this mountain.
And for a region that's so sandy and full of sun all the time.
I hate sand.
They sure wore interesting clothing. Leather and barely anything. Now, if you look at where we are on Earth and you look at the Middle East, you can see how there's a lot of robe-ish things. India, the Middle East, Egypt, they don't just run around in diapers.
Sunburn.
Yeah, well, in part 3, you can tell Dar got sunburned in part 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it finally hit him. I was like, man, this dude is not sunburned yet? Like, because you heard, making Star Wars, how everybody complained in Tunisia about how hot the sun was. And I was like, Dar is in the sun all the time in this movie. They're in a desert region, probably out in the middle of California somewhere.
Doing Tatooine and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So why, these guys...
2 suns. What if this is Tatooine way in the past?
In a galaxy far, far away.
Yes.
That's quite possible.
Dar is the great ×9 grandfather of a Skywalker.
Jedi Puju.
That his ability to talk to animals is just the Force.
Well, the Force.
And that... No, it makes more sense now.
Fan theories.
Anakin is the super great grandson of Mayax, and that's why he killed kids.
There you go.
Problem. All right, it's solved. We're done.
Master Skywalker, what are we going to do? Zoom. Shit.
I'm sorry. Oh, the accent. All I could hear was from Romulus. There's someone in the water.
There's someone in the water, mate. No fucking joking. There's someone right over there, mate.
I was reading on Reddit. Somebody's like, I had to turn on subtitles because I didn't know what water was.
How do you know what? Well, I'm sorry.
But, yeah.
Sorry you didn't say wooder.
No. I promised.
Something in the wooder.
Promised we wouldn't talk about that franchise this year. So, back to fantasy.
Let's talk about give me the info that you have for behind the scenes / trivia on the Beastmaster.
All right. Do you want to go back and forth? Because I have a list. You have a list. We probably have some.
I have paragraphs.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Very
ahead.
first thing I have goes back to the animal cruelty, unfortunately. The Black Panther in this movie was a tiger dyed black, as we said, because panthers were not allowed or available for filming at this time. And unfortunately, the tiger did die shortly after production due to complications from handling the stress and the dye used on its fur. They said they kept licking off a lot of the dye, and they think it was basically slowly poisoning itself.
Oh, yeah, cats lick themselves nonstop.
And they said this film actually led into a lot of debates about animal welfare during filming. So this was one of the early films to really push animal rights, I guess you could say.
That's an unfortunate way, but I'm glad it happened too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But, director Don Coscarelli also created the Phantasm series. Rip Torn was prosthetic nose because he wanted to appear more sinister. Hold on, I had another thing about Rip Torn. Here it is. He played the villainous Mayax. We know this. Reportedly, he brought an absurd amount of intensity to this role, so much that like he was trying to fully embrace Mayax's dark side and like his just sadistic, sinister nature, that it was actually reported to be incredibly unsettling to a lot of cast members. They did not want to be around him because they just made them uneasy.
Dude, that's some method acting right there, man. That's like some pre-Joker shit, you know.
I mean, Joker can send chickens or whatever to his castmates. Rip Torn just showed up.
He just showed up and started throwing wrenches at people.
The ferrets, Kodo and Podo, were the most cooperative animals on the set.
Oh, nice.
Which is what led them to more screen time, which is why they became fan favorites in the end. Because, I mean, if they're going to cooperate, keep going. You know what I mean?
Well, you say keep going. I was just going to keep going? Or
well, like keep filming.
Yeah.
Many of the sets were actually reused or repurposed from other movies. And the location shooting in California's desert added to the epic feel without the incredibly high filming costs.
Yeah, it's right in the fucking desert outside of LA.
Yeah, they basically just went, aimed the camera away from civilization and said, go.
Yeah. Well, that's what, if people have never been to California or don't live in California, I've been to California before, and I've been to Nevada, I've been to Vegas. That's basically there's cities, and then there's desert around them. It's just like rocky. Yeah. That's what California is.
Well, I said before, I went to Vegas with my brother for DEF CON, a big computer hacking convention before. And when you're flying in, you literally see like a city in the middle of nothing.
Yeah. And that's not to say I don't want to like make anybody mad from California. There is spots that are by the bay and they have really beautiful, national parks and things. But there are spots in cities in LA where it's like Vegas and there's just like rockiness around everywhere. That's what it is, man.
True. Mark Singer, who played Dar, apparently went under significant and incredibly intense physical training because one, he needed to have a muscular physique for the role, and two, he wanted to do a lot of his own stunts.
He does a lot of jumping and kicking.
He does do a lot of jumping and kicking. And he also spent an absurd amount of time with the animal handlers for the animals that he would be working with on set. Not just because he wanted to feel authentic, but because it was reported he wanted to build that rapport with the animals so they could actually trust him on set, knowing that there'd be a lot of sudden movement. He didn't want to freak the animals out.
Yeah, get killed by a black tiger.
So, I mean, yeah, pretty much. So thankfully, he, in my opinion, was incredibly smart about that. Like, he understood the animals, and he took the necessary measures to make sure that, well, he didn't die. Early drafts of the script were actually a lot darker and more explicit in violence and like the themes. Some of these elements had to be toned down because they wanted to appeal to a much broader audience, which I don't really know what they toned down because they're still throwing children into fire.
And there's still boobs. So
there was.
I'm not sure what rating they were going for to tone it down.
And then the last two things I have are both about Mr. Rip Torn. I do love that guy. Apparently, there was a fairly long scene involving a more detailed backstory on Mayax and like his reasoning behind everything.
Well, that got cut out.
it got cut out for pacing reasons, they said, which I don't feel like it was the fastest paced movie to begin with.
Now it's 2 hours long and you don't learn anything.
And then my absolute favorite thing that I realized as I was watching it, Rip Torn is trying to, basically take over everything from the old king, right? Zed.
Yeah.
Rip Torn is named Zed in Men in Black.
Yeah.
And I looked it up just to verify because in my head I kept seeing Michael Jackson saying Zed, Zed. And I'm like, no. Sure enough, it's because Zed, I guess, is like another way of saying Z, Agent Z, I wonder if that was done on purpose, as like he wanted that as a nod back to this.
I would hope so. I don't know if it's true or not, but I would hope so.
But I would love it if that was the fact. And in my head, that's now headcanon. So what about you? What do you have that I haven't read off?
Well, you already went over the budget. I know that Coscarelli was frustrated while making the film. He fought with the producers over editing and casting. He originally wanted Demi Moore for Kiri, but the producer overrode his choice and cast Tanya Roberts instead. So it wasn't even like Demi Moore's like, no, I'm not going to do this. I don't know if she was ever contacted, but she was the original for that. Mayax was supposed to go with some guy called Klaus Kinski, but he didn't show up because of salary disputes. Because of this movie, Tanya Roberts got her role in A View to Kill, the James Bond movie. I guess somebody saw it and said, she did pretty good. There was a budget limitation, and how this impacted everything was about how much to spend on actors, which was like $25 a day per person. And for this reason, homeless people were hired for the scene where Singer meets his father. The scene was shot during the day in Simi Valley. So yeah, there was homeless people that got cast in this movie because they didn't have money to pay.
That's awesome.
Like other people.
Wow. But I'm sure they got fed for the day at least.
Yeah, more than likely. Here's a sandwich.
And it looks like
it only took 5.5 months to make this movie too.
Well, and it looks like Demi Moore is only like maybe 8 years younger than Tanya Roberts.
She's probably super young. I'm glad she didn't get cast for this. Not that I don't have anything against Demi Moore.
No, I agree.
She was awesome in the substance, but I'm glad she wasn't for this.
Bring that up because we had talked about it off mic that Tanya Roberts was in her early 30s for this role.
Like 32, 33 or something like that.
Yeah. Real quick math. So she, Demi Moore, born in 62, so she would have been literally 20 years old at the time. I don't know if she could have brought the same level of
maturity.
Yeah. I'm really glad with the choice they went with.
I am too. So Coscarelli, sorry that you lost out, but I think it worked out.
Yeah.
And the other place that he shot this was the Valley of Fire State Park in Nevada. The tiger that you said sadly died wasn't allowed to be on the set at the same time as children and other animals because they thought it might hurt him.
It's probably a good idea.
And the shots with Josh Milrad and the tiger, which I think was Tall, the little kid, the tiger was either chained down or behind glass or sedated in a way, I guess, to calm it down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, maybe that licking of that stuff made it go a little angry or something. Maybe it wasn't acting like it should be.
Well, I mean, you got to figure dye back in the 80s. For all we know, there was lead in it, or, I mean...
Yeah, I don't know. That's sad, though. The ferrets, the sound effects given to them are like mice, and that's definitely not how ferrets sound.
No, they sound like a strange little goose in your pocket.
Yeah, I remember Natalie's ferret, and I know some other people had them. They definitely don't sound like mice.
Yeah, I had one all through high school. Actually, a little longer. But yeah, that was one other thing I did love was you get all these animal sound effects, and like obviously that animal's mouth is not open.
Yeah, they're just roaring, not roar. The bear that we talked about was a rushing bear, and it was the only bear working in Hollywood at the time. So there was that.
Well, it did a really good possession interpretation.
Well, I guess this bear broke loose at some point and attacked the handler, sending the rest of their crew fleeing to their cars for safety.
Oh, my word.
One of the days, yeah. As soon as the bear was recaptured and the handler was carried off for medical attention, the crew turned and told Mark they were ready to film his scene. So I guess like he was watching this and like, okay, well, now it's time. Yeah. There's a scene of the hawk soaring. And now this is from IMDb or from Wikipedia and other places that it's a hawk. Even though they say eagle, I don't know. Hawk, eagle, this bird soaring, and it looks great. But it wouldn't do what it was supposed to do, and it was supposed to soar. They were like, you get them on your wrist, and you're going to make it do with its tricks.
Yeah.
So they had to put it in a hot air balloon and make a trap door and then they put the bird out the trap door because that was the only way they could get the thing to soar. And that's how they got the shots done.
Just to film it flying.
Yeah, because it just wouldn't fly when it was supposed to.
I did read there was a few points where they had to reverse some of the footage just to get it to look like it was soaring, because they said eagles don't naturally fly like that. And it says here, the bird in the 1982 movie The Beastmaster is a golden eagle named Sharik.
Well, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying it kind
of...
Well, I guess if you see an eagle and it's not bald, people don't think it's an eagle.
Well,
you know what I mean? And I think a golden eagle's better.
Golden eagles are a relative to a bald eagle. Like they're in the same, what do they call it? Genus or whatever, but...
Familia?
Sure.
Mila la familia. Something, I don't know. Something they say. The Jun Horde temple was lit with torches that created black smoke, and for this reason, the crew were forced to wear breathing masks, and the actors repeatedly had to have their nostrils cleaned by the makeup artists. The mask worn by the Death Guard did not have any eye sockets, so the actor playing the part could not see what was happening. You might notice the Death Guard running around and waving his arms because he kept bumping into shit because he couldn't see what he was doing. So I guess that explains why he's running around like an idiot.
Now I'm going to go back and rewatch it because that makes that scene all the better.
I forgot that I wrote that down in my notes. Oh, man. Wow. So according to Don Kressley, the original camera negative of this movie has been lost. Contrary to standard practices of having it stored in a private house, whatever they used to do didn't happen properly. And so the house that it was in got sold. And after this building got sold, nobody knows what happened to it. You can go to where'sthebeastmaster.com, where him and Peppermint have asked for help to locate the original movie. So that's interesting.
That is. I wonder if it got damaged or if it's in somebody's basement. And...
Somebody doesn't even know.
Yeah.
Just it's probably in the trunk of an old car in a barn, covered up with a tarp. They don't even know about it. Let's talk about the future of the franchise here. If there's nothing else you need to add for behind the scenes, is there?
No, I don't.
In 2020, sites like Bloody Disgusting and Dread Central reported that Don Coscarelli now owns the rights and is on the hunt for the original camera negative and has talked about possible plans to reboot the series. So there's that. That's all I have for the future of the franchise. Because that's all we know. Now, that was only a couple years. That was only 5 years ago. But, Hollywood, man, 2020, we know what happened in 2020. We were there.
Yeah.
We were there. The whole world was there. Kind of put a hitch in everybody's step for a minute. That's for sure. Well, let me ask you. Well, you already answered. So you think Adam Sandler would play?
No,
you wouldn't put him on as Max?
No, I wouldn't.
Well, I was going to say I'd put him on as Seth. That way you could see them sweet Adam Sandler thighs everywhere throughout the movie.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. That's about all I have on The Beastmaster 1, 2, 3, the TV show. I actually thought about finding a way to purchase the seasons. There's only 3 of them of the TV show. Maybe just out of boredom here
Amazon.
And there. Yeah, or just seeing if they're streaming somewhere to check it out.
I mean, you might have to go full on DVD because I don't know if
I don't know who owns that or where you would even find it. But I thought about just checking out the first couple episodes.
These movies, they really put me in mind of what was it, the old Highlander series.
Yeah.
Not as much the movie.
It reminds me of I could go like that.
So on that note, let's go down through it real quick. Who would you cast, just real quick off the top of your head, for different people, like Dar, Kiri, Seth,
Alexandra Dario is Kiri, but only because of her eyes. You got to have somebody with those eyes. Rebecca Gayheart, maybe she was in her prime, but she's not. Even Dario is not. I mean, she's, I don't know, a little bit different. Natalie Allen Lind. She's part of a famous family of sisters and Chucky, and was in Ghostbusters and things. I'd cast her as Kiri. As far as Dar, fuck, you bring Daniel Goddard still doing stuff on one of those soap opera TV shows. You can bring him in here for a live action one. I don't know. There's so many, hell, even Ryan Reynolds is ripped these days, man.
But I feel like you'd end up with
he'd be too funny. I'd want something. I don't really know for Dar because I don't.
You'd end up with someone like Jason Momoa as Dar.
Yeah, and I don't want that. Yeah. Well, he already did Conan, so we're good there. He did the remake.
True.
Of Conan.
Okay, sorry. Then what's his name? Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, get his brother.
I feel like you'd end up with somebody like that. I'd like to see borderline nobodies that fit the part better than just a name.
Yeah, that's why I can't really pick somebody because I would want a no-name guy too.
Like for Kiri, I feel like Maya Hawke. I don't know. I just
okay.
I could see her pulling that. I mean, she definitely has a different personality to it, but I also feel like she could bring that spunk to it.
The lady, I can't think of her name, Joanne Qualley from The Substance. We already talked about Demi Moore in The Substance. You bring her in there. I think she would be an amazing Carrie as well. And for the Seth character, that guy,
Terry Crews, I agree.
Terry, hey, he ain't doing nothing. He'd be great, man. Terry Crews. And then, but the thing, they'd shoot all of his parts and somehow it'd be cut out like it was in Terminator. Anything else you got on the Beastmaster?
I have nothing.
Were you happy that you did see this though? Are you happy that it's now part of your mind collection of movies?
The only thing I have left to say about the Beastmaster is go watch it. Yes, I
recommend it.
I'm very glad that I watched it. I thought it was an outstandingly mediocre movie, if that makes sense. Like I would watch this again before I went and watched, Would
you watch this or Avatar?
I would watch this for the rest of my life before I watch Avatar again. No, but no, for real. This is one of those movies that I really do think everybody should check out at least once in their life. It was just a fun movie. Like, it's not a blockbuster. It's not going to be a cult classic, which I feel like it kind of is.
I think a younger person today, if you're in your 20s, you should check this out just to see how films were made way back in the day that aren't glossy. Yeah. They're not over saturated with CGI effects. They're not, picked apart in the rooms where they do all the soundboard things. And, they make them so crisp and clean now, even the low budget ones. This movie here was like bare bones. Like, this is like, you had like $9 million to make a movie.
Yeah.
Like, shit. That is not a lot of money at all. Hell, there's people that get more than $9 million for a TV episode.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, even with inflation, this would be 18 million today, maybe?
Yeah.
But still, that's nothing, man.
See, that's like one of the reasons I tell people one of my absolute favorite movies. I mean, yeah, Jurassic Park, stuff like that. But I have a soft spot for 12 Angry Men from 1957. It's a classic black and white. The whole movie takes place in one room.
The acting
using maybe 3 cameras, one for close-ups, one for 2 different angles. But it's one of those movies where it solely relies on the actors themselves to sell it.
It's all about the performance.
And I feel like even though, we had a heck of a lot more going on in this movie, it felt very similar to me. And I think that's why the second one didn't resonate with me, as they relied a lot more on... I'm going to hold this
to you that you just compared Beastmaster to 12 Angry Men.
Ish. But like the second one...
This was more like 12 Naked Men.
Well, true.
Which is a whole different movie.
The second movie, it was all... They try to put in like CGI and big explosions and special effects and
lasers just make things blow up.
Yeah,
like he shoots the laser at sand and giant explosions happen.
Hey,
why didn't the laser just turn the sand to glass?
We talked about this before. I don't even remember the movie now, but when somebody was shooting a gun and it was hitting sand, it was sparking. Remember? I don't even remember what the movie was at this point, but yeah, I recommend go check it out. And in the comments below, tell us what you thought, because I feel like this is a movie that we could shoot the shit on for a very long time if we really wanted to.
We definitely could. And when we get off mic, we probably will.
That is true, too. By the way, I just looked it up. 12 Angry Men had a budget of $340,000, which in the 50s...
So for lunch for the day.
In the 50s, that's probably pretty solid. But at the same time, that is not a lot of money.
No. Well, I mean, what was minimum wage there? $1.25 an hour?
Wow, yeah, you're right.
Which is probably what it is in Mississippi now, in some of those states that don't even have a minimum wage. Get on that, people. Start paying people. Let's go. Not $30 an hour. Let's not be ridiculous. They still can't make my fucking cheeseburger right at McDonald's, but still.
I don't think this is right, but it says on release, the movie cost $350,000 to make, and it grossed worldwide $2,945.
Did nobody see it when it opened up?
There's no way that's correct.
No.
But on IMDb of 900,000 reviews, it's at a 9 out of 10. And I will stand behind that.
If you want to know what real acting is, watch that movie.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, my God.
That's all about the performance of every single person in that film.
Yeah.
Is superb. And, I saw 12 Angry Men for the first time when I'm gonna guess that was probably like 11 or 12. And I was like, what did I just watch?
And we were just saying earlier about...
Like, I wasn't even old enough to absorb it, and I knew it was a good movie. Oh, yeah.
And we were saying earlier about, like, Tanya Roberts, she went too soon. And you said Jane Fonda. Henry Fonda, her father, is in this.
Yeah.
It's going back.
There's a really, really old dude that was in so many 80s movies as an old guy, and he plays, I think, the principal in Fast Time at Ridgemont High. I think he's in there too, isn't he? Can't think of his name. He's one of those actors you know who he is, but you don't know his name.
I do believe we've covered everything there is to cover about Beastmaster, a little bit about 2, and we're not even going to look at 3. So
no, I already watched 3 today. That's enough.
Yep.
That was the second time in my life, and I
just real
didn't really want to do that.
Why was there like fire and lava under the zoo when the ground magically opened up?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Just checking. I didn't know if I missed like some Aladdin shit going on or what. Like,
I like that when he kills Arklon, spoiler here, and he throws him off like it's the same thing they do in the Palpatine went down, Masters of the Universe. They do it to Skeletor.
What are you talking about? They do it in the Lion King.
But when Arklon goes down and he spins a few times, he just disappears.
And he's talking the whole way down.
Yeah. Emily got me a magnet for the holidays for Yule that says Skeletor approves.
Oh, jeez.
So speaking of Skeletor news, before we get off here, apparently Jared Leto is going to play me. Can you believe it? He's actually signed on. He stabbed his hand and wrote in blood, "I shall be Skeletor."
Sadly, I would actually believe that at this point.
I don't know what to think.
I don't know.
I'm not super happy about it. I don't know what makes me a little bit more upset. Him playing Skeletor or Robert Downey Jr. playing Dr. Doom.
Yes.
Maybe Doom more, but I'm still not happy. All right, let's wrap this up. Let's go through the final motions.
All right, people.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
All right, so that is our take on the Beastmaster from 1982. Let us know your thoughts. Did you like our commentary? Do you disagree with us? Questions? Do you have answers to some of our questions? Let us know in the comments down below. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Spotify, iTunes, or any of the listening platforms only, you can go to treeofgeek.com, contact us, and send us a message. Or just jump over to YouTube, find this video, and comment below. I mean, that works too. If you are really enjoying what you're hearing, please find us on our social medias. You can go to Instagram, X, or Facebook. We are on all 3 of them, and we are active. I recommend Instagram. That's where I believe we're most active. But hey, if you comment on any of those platforms, we will get back to you.
One of my resolutions is to be more active on social media for the Tree of Geek this year, because it's on me. So I'll try to be better. So talk to me. Give me reasons. Continue.
And if you really, really like what you're hearing and you want this podcast to continue for a lot longer than just the rest of season 3, hop on over to patreon.com/treeofgeek, where for $5 a month you can join our amazing members only Patreon, where we are going to be posting some members exclusive content such as reaction videos. Hey, you never know, there might be an exclusive episode or 2 in the works. And
chomping at the bit to get these done. Give me a reason, folks.
And we will have different ways that you can vote on different polls and different episode ideas. You remember last season when we did the
Crossing Swords?
Thank you. Crossing Swords episode. Well, it was a bracket episode on who is the strongest swordsman. We're going to be doing stuff like that again this year, and we would love for input. Instead, right now, it's just you listening to our opinions. So
yeah, I want to know what you guys think out there. What's the world think? Let me know.
Absolutely. So for $5 a month, you can get involved with the podcast. And there is a chat system on Patreon now where you can chat directly to us. I do monitor it. I am waiting for somebody to say hello. So be the first to jump in and say hi. Do it.
Just do it.
But I do believe that is going to be it for us for, again, season 3, episode 3, The Beastmaster. Man, can you believe that we are at the beginning of season 3?
I can't believe it, actually, because I understand how time works.
That is true, too. That is true. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this, what would they call it, quest?
Yes, I must go on a quest, he says. Kind of. I will say this, though, before we end it, he does kind of have they say there's no Navajo, no Cherokee, nothing here. He does kind of talk like this at times in the movie.
In the second movie. In the first one, he didn't. In the second one, he had an accent.
The second one, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah. How?
All right, but
goodbye.
That's going to be it for us.
That's all I got.
Yeah. Jump on, comment, let us know what you think.
Ride a tiger on over like Battle Cat.
Hit the like button, the thumbs up button,
subscribe.
Subscribe. Do all of that stuff for us. The numbers do help. So
hit it with your sword.
From the Tree of Geek, this is Josh saying I'll see you next time.
And for the Tree of Geek hanging up here in the tree fort, this is Michael saying later.